Since I'm back home, I wanted to do a quick video
Answering some questions about the things I brought with me.
I'm going to go through this in detail, and we'll identify a few things I didn't ever use and the like. But I start over here with my pack.
So one of the things I was working on in part of this trip was seeing if I wanted to eventually do a trail that involved camping. And some of the things I brought with me were to try that out.
Take these things, add a tent and a sleeping kit and a stove and food, and would this still be manageable? And I think I ended up bringing a few things I wouldn't bring on a camping trip, but overall, most of the stuff I used, I'll make a list at the end of the things I did not use, and we'll take it from there. So my rationale for my pack, it's a Z-Pack's Arc Haul, which is great, by the way. Loved the pack. Love the fact you can arc it and get yourself a bit of breathing space between your back and the actual pack. I forgot to arc it every single morning. So my first break, I would make that happen. And usually it wasn't a big deal because it was 55 degrees out and it was nice to have a little warmth up against the back while you're getting warmed up in the morning. But every single day I forgot to do it. So it was just kind of a recurring thing. That pack was great. Again, I brought a liner, which is actually an exterior cover made out of the usual Z-Pack material, and it was fantastic. I would put that inside vertically, put all my things inside of it. This is waterproof, that is water resistant, and everything I had was bone dry, and it was simple. And at the end of the trip, I just packed everything up and put it inside this, and it came through perfectly with the airplanes. This is another bag I brought. It's a day pack, just a little REI, simple, lightweight pack, and I used that anytime I was hanging out in the hostels or albergues or going around town. I would leave my non-electronic, non-money, non-identification things in my regular pack and not worry about it, because who's going to steal your dirty clothes? And then take that with me, and I was very comfortable and didn't look too out of place. Ha ha ha. Looked absolutely out of place, but it was comfortable and easy to use. Next thing I brought was a collapsible walking stick. And if you watch my other videos, you know I will use that exactly once. And that was fine. Whether I would actually bring it in a future trip, I don't know. Depends how rocky and wet and things are, but it weighs nothing. It's carbon fiber. And I probably would bring it again because it wasn't really in the way. And again, it was a lot of weight. It was helpful to have in some particularly slippery, muddy spots as that third point of balance. So I'd probably bring it again. Next on the list there is my towel. Just a very small, I think it's a 32-inch wide rectangular towel from REI, the smallest I could get that would allow me to easily dry my back. Next is a pillow. I never used the pillow. I probably would avoid the pillow on a Camino trip, but I would bring the pillow on a camping trip. I like to sleep with a pillow, and if I don't sleep, I'm unhappy. Bandana, typical thing. I never used it, not once. But again, it wasn't like it was hot. I needed to cover up my neck or anything. On a desert trip or something, I would definitely bring that with me, or even a winter trip for taking care of snot. Good times. Let's see. Next, we have the toiletries. So there's the toiletry bag. The top, just a simple lightweight toiletry bag I got off of Amazon. Toothbrush. I had the Z-Pack's little toothbrush and actually went ahead and brought it back with me. Did not like it very much. I was using the toothpaste, but while I was there, I went ahead and bought a regular toothbrush. I just need something with firmer bristles than the other tiny one had. So in the future, I'll probably cut that in half or cut a bit off the end and keep using a regular one. Vaseline, Gold Bond powder, deodorant. Because on the Camino, people don't stink like they do on other trails. This stuff is absolutely useless. Did nothing for me. I stank by noon usually and strongly, and in the future, I would just get a travel size version of a regular deodorant. Let's see, Spork, used a couple times while I was there. My almost empty bag of earplugs, which was incredibly helpful. I would definitely bring those. Dr. Bonner's. I brought several soaps with me. I ended up using just Dr. Bonner's for everything. We'll do that again in a second. It's great stuff. Clothespins for hanging up things on a clothesline like most albergues have. My own clothesline. I bought nail clippers while I was there, which I brought them in the first place. See notes about feet problems. Another pair of earplugs here that are reusable. Chapstick. This little flashlight, extra flashlight. Some rings for hanging things off of the backpack. The next one is consumables. And I know not everyone would do this, but I like having my breakfast of athletic greens. So I brought 30 or so of these and would make a powder out of that every morning as a break while I was walking. My supplements for joint pain and overall health, there's magnesium and a multivitamin and fish oil and turmeric and a few other things in there. Vitamin D, a few others. If you need to, toilet paper and a trowel. Love this trowel. It weighs less than an ounce. It's the Deuce of Spades. Some hand sanitizer. A few wet wipes. This is a bag I kept all my food in, and this usually had a bag or two of nuts, various cheeses, some meat, and that was my lunch. Just lightweight, keep things moving without getting too heavy, sort of consumables. Some bags of tea that I did not use. Matcha, however that's pronounced. Next are the electronicas, and let's see, that up there is a battery in its case. It's a 26,000 milliamp battery. It is weighty. But just below that is a case with my lenses for my phone. I was actually pretty happy to have the wide angle one. I didn't use the macro or the tele much. Then below that is my little fluffy bag with my noise canceling earphones. And to the left of that is the face mask I used all the time. So glad I brought that. It's really lightweight. I think it's made by Bear. They call it Alaskan style, whatever that means. But it was effective, and every morning I had that on. And any night there was lights on and things. It was very useful in a shared space. Selfie stick, love that thing. I wish I had a better way to get to it while I was walking. It wasn't hanging it off the front of my pack, but I would use it more often. Multi-port charger would let me charge my battery and my phone and my iPad simultaneously. Adapter for Spain. Under this, a backup set of headphones. This little sucker is a Lightning-based USB drive, so I would shoot video on the phone, copy it there, copy it to my iPad, edit it in iMovie. Love that thing, really helpful. It's also good for a secondary backup. C-bands, so I don't vomit on the plane. Power cord for the charger. Reading glasses, I didn't actually use these ever. Headphone adapter. This is a combination thermometer compass whistle. Didn't use it at all. The Camino is not a wilderness. Well, parts of it are, but you've always got a town to get to. Charging adapter, another charging adapter. A couple of USB drives I brought with me at the last second as I was leaving town and getting some projects finished. Didn't use them because I didn't have anything that they could read. That could read them, rather. Let's see, sunglasses case with a cloth to clean them, and my little Euro change pouch I kept in my front belt of my pack. This is a water bottle holder that goes in the front of your pack, and I didn't actually have a water bottle that fit it, so it sat in a bag the entire time. It was not used, but I would absolutely use this in the future to keep a half-liter or 1-liter bottle handy without having to get contortive to remove one's water bottles. Did not use my scrubba at all. There was always a sink. There was always a washer or something else. I would not use this on a camping trip, but it was an interesting idea, and I'll probably keep it for hotel travel in the future, because this actually is really nice and convenient, even though I've never opened it. So bake that with a grain of salt. Repair kit, needles and super glue and duct tape and Z-Pax material and some special tape, and that's about all I needed for any sort of thing that needed to get fixed. Didn't fix anything. I did use a lighter, which is there for melting nylon, to heat up a needle to help a friend once to pop a blister, but I didn't pop any of mine until I actually got home, and didn't actually have to. The next one is my sort of other things that I carried in my pouches in the front. There's a headlamp, which I did not use. There's a bottle of Purell, which I used all the time, a knife, and I used the knife, no problem. Some sunscreen, I maybe should have used more often. My emergency first aid stuff, which has many more bandages in it than when I started. Some tape I bought, Compees I bought. And then it has things like Steri-Strips, ibuprofen, a couple alcohol wipes, some antidiarrheals, and a Leukotape and a few other things. So very helpful, use that all the time. A lot of this stuff is in that yellow sack over there, just a generic sack. I didn't mention my iPad, of course, which is what I used to edit video and use when I had some Wi-Fi, and read several books on there. It's very helpful. Next, we're to the rain gear, and these are my gaiters for my shoes. So those are muddy and actually helped protect some, kept them dry than in the toe box, which is of course where the worst of it was. Then I brought, as an experiment, these Virtus rain gloves, which actually will fit over your regular gloves, keeping your hands not only warm and dry. That's really nice. I used them during the rain a few times. They were perfectly fine. Get my hands dry. I didn't see them as being particularly warm. They didn't make my hands sweat or anything. But I liked them. Little minty things. In the future, if I was going on a colder trip, and I had planned to go to the Camino a little earlier in the year, which is why I bought a lot of this cold stuff in the first place, but we'll get to that in a minute. If I had done that earlier in the year, I would have had not only probably more rain, but cold temperatures in the 30s at night. So glad I had the preparation for another trip in the future, but did not end up using those for this trip. My rain jacket from Z-Packs, love this thing, use it all the time. If you're climbing up a hill and it's 70 degrees, you're going to sweat. I don't care whose jacket you're wearing, but it has pit zips and you could open it up and it was as good as it was going to get. These are sun gloves. I used these one day and they were actually quite comfortable. I'm glad I have them for the future for desert travel. I expect to be using them in the Houston area if I go hiking in longer hikes in the daytime when it's 100 degrees out and I don't want to lose all the skin on my hands. This is a rain kilt, also from Z-Packs. Wore it a few times, worked great. The showers we got in Spain weren't as heavy as the showers we get in Houston. I would take that along in a longer hike, absolutely, because it's a little warmer to have it on, especially when it's raining and chilly, over your shorts. But you know, your feet are gonna get wet regardless, and that just keeps your shorts from getting wet, which is handy. It's my hat. It's a sun hat and it has a cover, but the cover on it's a rain hat. Easy peasy. Takes a couple seconds to do. I have a windbreaker. I never wore it. It's silly to wear that on this trip. I was worried about warmth though. One thing you don't see here there are two things you don't see here that I already put away were my Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer jacket, which was another thing I never wore, but it was nice and warm. So I should have chosen either the windbreaker or that, because the rain jacket worked fine as a windbreaker as well. The other thing is my very lightweight $20 Costco down sleeping quilt. It didn't come as a sleeping quilt. I sewed it into a sleeping quilt, and that was a fun project. Really glad I brought that. That was perfect for the some cool nights. But it was very lightweight, and I would just tuck my feet in there if I was cold and cover up, and I was perfectly fine in a t-shirt and boxers. I have a heavier one, but I'm glad I didn't bring it. That would have been way overkill. So nobody had the heat on. A couple nights it was actually cool, pretty cold. I mean, it got out of 40, I think, once is the worst of it, and then otherwise it was, you know, pretty comfy. You just had something to throw over me at night. There wasn't a smelly, unwashed blanket that you found typically in albergues. So, moving on. And then I have clothes. So I have a warmish pair of socks. These are darn tough. Love them. These are mid-weight. I wish I brought the lightest weight ones I could find. My feet get really hot and sweaty, especially in shoes. But this actually gave me some padding and was helpful a few times when I was in pain. These are the other pair of socks I brought, which are called Right socks, which are actually double layered, so it's like wearing a liner and a sock simultaneously. I have a hole in these, and I wore them quite a lot of miles, probably 120 of the miles I did, and they got a little beat up in the dryer. That was dumb. So it's a combination of me wearing a lot and then also that. But I'm not sure I would get these again. It just didn't have a lot to them. So I like the Darn Toughs. I'm going to try to figure out a better Darn Tough option that I can wear with shoes, and then a sandal option to wear without shoes. I didn't plan to bring these 2 t-shirts. They were last minute additions as I was packing up to go, and I had them with me, and I went ahead and threw them in. I could always have thrown them away, but I'm glad I had them. It's nice to have things to wear while you're doing laundry to get everything cleaned. It's nice to be able to hang out and socialize in the afternoons and with people. So I would wear those either with one or the other pair of my pairs of shorts, and that was pretty helpful to have. I did bring some warm clothes to sleep in. There's a long sleeve merino wool shirt, there's a wool hat, there's a buff, there's a pair of gloves. Never wore any of it, never needed it. I think I wore the shirt once while I was doing laundry, but never needed any of that. It was not that cold, and I run really hot. So I would put on one of my 2 hiking shirts, these Columbia long sleeve UPF 40 hiking shirts, and those kept me protected pretty much all the time with my rain jacket if I was chilly, and that was usually just plenty. A pair of boxers to sleep in, and I brought a couple pairs of wool underwear. They didn't hold up as well. I would look for another option in the future. I have my other pair of shorts. These are actually a placeholder. The other shorts I had, they have a built-in boxer inside of them, not a mesh, but like a real boxer, and those tore up in the 14th day of my trip, and I had to throw them away. So I did the rest of the trip with these shorts and my boxers, and then the boxers got a hole in them, the pair of wool boxers. So let's see. Of all that, what's the only that's left is my sandals, and these are the Croc water shoes, and I love these things. They're not built for walking 20 miles in. I did that the last day, and I tore my heels and things, and some of the feet of my bottom of my feet. But really glad I had them. They did put me that last day in, and if I hadn't had the wrong size regular shoes, they might have come in even more useful. So that's everything. Again, the things I did not end up using were this scrubba for laundry. I wore the sunglasses a couple days. Reading glasses I didn't use. Headlamp. People talk about getting up at 5 in the morning, walking in the dark. Who's going to do that on the Norte trail? Nobody. That's the Camino Frances. Some of the more warm stuff I mentioned, I would not have brought my Ghost Whisperer jacket. That's for a much colder temperature, and maybe the pillow. But otherwise, I didn't feel I was overweight. I did get rid of a few things my 7th day, like laundry detergent and a few other things. But yeah, those are all the things I brought. And plus, I have my passport and a couple of things that aren't pictured, but that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you all.